Namaskar. Today, Wednesday evening, dear devotees and friends, we will be reading from the Gospel of Sri Krishna, the Panchama Veda. Now, before that, please chant along with me. Tabu kathamritam tapta jivanam kabibhiriritam kalmashapaham sravana mangalam srimadatam bhuvi grinanti e bhuridajanaha. In our last discussion, we mentioned that Master Mahashaya aim was reading from the Bankim Chandra's, the famous book, Devi Chaudhurani. It was page 686 in the Gospel of Bhagavan Sri Krishna. From here you will find Sri Ramakrishna was listening and sometimes expressing his own opinions about the decisions of the writer. And the page 683, Bhavani Pathak and Prafulla, all these, he started reading about them. Mostly the Bengali people, they will be knowing, and those who are in English also, that book is available, that Devi Chaudhurani. So, main theme, the Bankim Chandra, he was writing that a group of people, they have formed a group, they are patriots, they are against the British rule, they want to do something for the poor people. So, they were in the opinion that they were looting and the robbing from the rich people and bringing the money and distribute among the poor people. That was the idea. So, that is the way, the whole thing. Now, they got a lady, and that leader, the Bhavani Pathak, he was giving the training to that lady to become the leader of the group, and they will be going out, mixing with people, talking to, impressing them, and then getting the information so that the male members, they can go. So, that is the whole idea. And like a Robin Hood idea, so they will be going and fighting and then getting the money and then distributing among the poor people. So, this he was reading because of the famous book. Sri Ramakrishna wanted to know about it. So, aim read from the book again. It is 686 page. Prafulla, like my actions, I offer all my wealth to Sri Krishna. There was a dialogue between the Prafulla and the Bhavani Pathak. The Bhavani is asking all. Prafulla, yes, all. Bhavani, in that case, you won't be able to perform action in a detached spirit. See, the Bankim Chandra, he was very thorough about Hinduism. So, the Karma Yoga he wanted to introduce through this story, and the Bhavani Pathak mentioning about that. If you have to work to earn your food, you will be attached to that work. Hence, there are two alternatives before you. Either you will have to get your food by begging, or you will have to live on your own money. Even a beggar becomes attached to the alms and he receives, therefore, you must use your own money to maintain your body. Now, there's a two opinion that the Bhavani Pathak he was expressing, that if you have your own money, then you can maintain your own body, and the excess money you better distribute. But if you are distributing everything, then going for the begging, alms, even then you have to depend on somebody. That is the idea. Sri Ramakrishna is commenting on that. Who was reading, he commented, that is the nature of a calculating mind. And Sri Ramakrishna, yes, that is the nature of the calculating mind. That is the way the worldly man thinks. But he who seeks God plunge headlong. He doesn't calculate about any much or how little he needs for the protection of his body. As a Sri Ramakrishna speaking from the point of view of a completely spiritual person searching or going out to realize God. For that is there what he says, when a person is going out, he never calculates. Lord Buddha never calculated how I am going to get food, who will be cooking for me, where I will stay, never calculated. Even we, when we left our hearth and home, we never knew where we are going and who will be taking care of us, nothing like that. Only thought that I am going to realize God in this very life itself. So that way he goes. So Shankaracharya, that's why sometimes commented that a male body is that way useful because they can go to any place, anywhere. But a lady may not be. So that is Shankara's. Here Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning, Bhavani Pathak is not a sannyasi. Bhavani Pathak is trying to do some good work in the society, but the method is not good. But anyway, we will go through the book. Next, Bhavani asked Prafulla, how will you offer all this money to Sri Krishna? Prafulla said, why? Sri Krishna dwells in all beings. I shall distribute the money among them. Bhavani answered, good, good. Quoting from the Gita, Bhavani said, never become separated from me, nor do I become separated from him. That yogi who, established in that unity, worships me, dwelling in all beings, abides in me, whether his mode of life. Whatever his mode of life, O Arjuna, that yogi is regarded as the highest who judges the pleasure and pain of all beings by the same standard. So that is from the Bhagavad Gita, Yo Mam Pashyati Sarvatra Sarvam Cha Mahi Pashyati, like that. So here the Bhavani, that means the writer, the writing, Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay is writing from Sri Ramakrishna. These are the characteristics of the highest bhaktas. Highest bhakta. You know, in Hinduism, there are three different ways and going towards the God. We can say four. One is the bhakta, another is jnana, another tantra. These are the three. Karma is always associated. Everyone is performing the karma. So jnana, bhakti, karma, etc. yoga, and also the three main paths that the Hindus they follow. One is tantra, another Vedanta, and another is bhakti. Sri Ramakrishna mentioning that God is separate, I am separate, I am trying to reach God by seeing God in every being. Ultimately, is the highest bhakta, is the characteristics of the highest bhakta. I see God. Jnani will say, I see Atman, Brahman in all being. The Brahman, the consciousness is all being. The bhakta, he will say, I see my God in all beings. So Sri Ramakrishna commented. Again, read from the book. A man must work hard if he wants to help all beings with charity. Hence, it is necessary for him to make a little display of clothes, of pomp and luxury. Therefore, Bhavani said, a little shopkeeping is necessary. Again, the Sri Ramakrishna sharply, a little shopkeeping? One speaks as one thinks. If a man thinks of whole worldly things day and night, people hypocritically, then his words are colored by his thoughts. If one eats radish, one belches radish. Instead of talking about shopkeeping, he would rather have said a man should act as if he were the doers knowing very well that he is really not the doer. Now, he is reading a book because that was very popular, and people was appreciating that book not because of the content that they are going to get money for the poor, but the idea that a group of dacoits are actually not dacoits but karma yogis, and they are doing that. That is the way they are going to get the liberation, going to get the God realization, like that. So Sri Ramakrishna was interested to know about that book. He asked his disciple, Master Mahasaya, to read out, and he is listening. But some of the points he is not liking, and that is the true guru. The guru means always alert and guiding. Not that he is going to rectify or correct that the writer, Bankim Chandra, when he met him, he talked about him too. But here, through these comments, he is trying to reach out to all people who were very much influenced by that book, Devi Chaudhurani. And Sri Ramakrishna is telling it is nothing wrong if you are in the world and trying to do this thing, but if you are trying to realize God, if you are thinking that you are a spiritual person, you should never be hypocrite. But why then hypocrisy? The many of the people, just for the popularity, they will be advertising. If their advertising means they are not true spiritual, spirituality doesn't need that. You reach out to people, you go to and talk as maximum as possible, that's all. And if you think that you are going to change the whole world, and for that, you will be taking the help of the advertising companies and they will do all these things for you, that means there is something wrong. If believing in the existence of God, God is everywhere, God knows what is good. So Sri Ramakrishna is a true guru, the God himself in the human form, trying to guide us. Even here also he is mentioning shopkeeping, that is hypocrisy. Showing something and thinking something else, no, that should not be. Swami Vivekananda also, the disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, Swami Vivekananda said, I can stand everything but hypocrisy. What I am not, that I am showing to the people. And by that way, trying to get the appreciation and becoming popular. If this world is temporary, if this world is an illusion, if this world is nothing, the God is everything, then what should I have to go for the appreciation of the worldly people, whoever he may be? That is the idea. The other day a man was singing here. The song contained words like profit and loss. I stopped him. If one contemplate a particular subject day and night, one cannot talk of anything else. The reading continued. The author was describing the realization of God. Prafulla had become Devi Chaudhurani. It was the month of Vaishak. Devi was seated on the roof of her houseboat talking with Diba and another woman companion. The moon was up. The boat had cast anchor in the Ganges. In those days, many people used to live in the houseboat on the Ganges. Rabindranath's father also lived. They are rich people, they used to live like that. And for the safety too. Durani, that Prafulla, she needed the safety. Though there are many people who are there all around her, but in the Ganges means if anybody is coming to trying to attack, she is safe. She will be knowing who are coming. So she was there. Now the conversing. The conversation turned to the question of whether one could see God. Devi said, as the aroma of a flower is directly perceived by the nose, so perceived by the mind. At this point, the master interrupted and said, yes, God is directly perceived by the mind. Then immediately he added, but not by this ordinary mind. It is the pure mind that perceives God, and at that time this ordinary mind does not function. A mind that has the slightest trace of attachment to the world cannot be called pure. Friends, the pure mind, I always quote that from the Jesus, blessed are those who are pure in heart, for they shall see God. What is the purity? Most of the time we don't know. We think that bathing in a holy water is purity, or is a new or the washed clothes are the purity, or smearing the body with the ashes, the holy ashes, purity. Purity means no attachment to these worldly things. That is purity. And if the mind is completely free from the attachment from the worldly things, worldly objects, where the mind goes? To God. And what is God? Purity. And what is purity then? To me, purity is nothing but love. Purity is nothing but unselfishness. Again and again we have to remember that God is nothing but unselfishness. God is nothing but love. And love and unselfishness is purity. And that is God. So when we talk about the religion, many of the things that jumble up in our mind, we think we have to go on burning a light all the time. We have to go over there barefoot. We have to practice this, that. That is all good. All the religions are having the rituals, and that is necessary to train up the body and the mind. And when we are punishing the body to some extent, it is good. Even in the Buddha, the Gautama, Siddhartha, in the beginning, he was punishing his body. Then slowly he understood. So he then suggested Madhya Pantha, and not so much of austerity and not luxury. It must be in between. So that is the way. Most of the people, they don't understand what is truly spirituality, what is God, and what are all these tapasyas. The pages of this gospel of Sri Ramakrishna is teaching us very clearly about that. And that's why I say it is the Panchama Veda. It is the Veda, the book of knowledge, spiritual knowledge. See, here, he is hearing a story as a book that is written by Bankim Chandra, and going on commenting, because the reader is the Master Mahasaya and others, some devotees, they are also listening, they should not be carried out with the emotion. The correct, the thing should be there, spiritual, because they are coming to Sri Ramakrishna for the development of the spirituality. As a true teacher, as a guru, he is always alert to guide them. Here he is telling, yes, the pure mind, but that pure mind doesn't mean this present mind. Then he is a mind that has the slightest trace of attachment to the world cannot be called pure. And what is this world? These are all 5 things. Chakshu, Karna, Nashika, Jiva, Tak. The eye, the nose, the ear, the tongue, and the skin. These are the 5 that goes out, enjoy the world. This is world. If somehow, something, some attachment is there for of these 5 objects are there, we cannot realize God, and that cannot be said as a pure mind. So how I will know that my mind has become pure? I need not to go to any doctor to check my mind, a psychiatric. No, I need not to go. Only I can think myself, am I pure? The mindfulness, the word that has come, and it is very the modern day people, they use it very much. Mindfulness. Now, what is this mindfulness? Constant I'm thinking anything. I am interested to know about this world, that is all right. I keep information about this world, it is all right. But in the beginning itself, again, in the beginning of the spiritual life, particularly those who are brahmacharis and the monks, the ardent the sannyasis, those who have renounced the world and have taken up the life of a monk, mendicant, they should be careful in their beginning, at least 10, 12 years, not to keep any touch with the worldly things. What is happening in the political world, what is doing, and who is increasing the salary, these, that, nothing and nothing. When your mind is under your control, you can understand, well, then just for the information, that's all. Because when you are working with the society, you need the informations so that you are aware that much, otherwise not. So this is the way we have to understand the spiritual life means withdrawing the mind from the worldly objects. But those who are in the household duties, those who are householders, having the family, children, they must be very, very careful about all the things that is happening all around them, because that is their dharma. They must be very much aware about how the money market is going on. That is their dharma. They have to protect their family, but not with attachment. For the monks, never care for those, should not be interested to know those, because that is not their thing. But the householders should be careful about those, but without attachment. That is the thing. But anyway, we should detach ourselves with the worldly things. So in the beginning, if we know it, slowly we are practicing it. A time will come after the retirement, I will withdraw my mind and I know what I am actually doing. And then finally, I will slowly try to detach myself with all those I liked, I loved. That is called Banaprasthi. The Brahmacharya and then Garhastha. Afterwards, the third stage, Banaprasthi, is a retired life, is a preparation for sannyasa. And sannyasa means complete giving up. What I am giving up? Attachment to the worldly objects, that's all. Not that I have to give up the earth and home all the time. No. Attachment to the worldly objects. If putting on the gerua and then I am attached for the name, fame, power, and I am running for the political offices, then I am not a monk at all. So this we should have to understand, and this is what Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning us. Pure mind or pure Atma, he is mentioning, when all the impurities of the mind are removed, you may call that mind or pure Atma. Unfortunately, some people born in India, high caste and this, that, they think that they are pure. And some people who were sweeping the road and doing some menial job, they are impure. Wrong, completely wrong. So why I am mentioning this, if the teachings of the great souls, the avatars, are not helping to develop our day-to-day life, so we should understand this truth, then implement this, use this truth to develop our social life, at the same time spiritual life. The Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning the pure mind means pure Atman, that is God. There is no world, and sometimes in Hindi they say, Jahan Ram tahan nahi kam. Where is God, there is no desire, worldly desire. Jahan काम तहाँ नहीं राम, no God. It says the author says a little that God cannot easily be perceived by the mind. He says that one needs a telescope to have the direct vision. Yoga is the telescope. Yoga, as it is described in the Gita, is the three kinds: Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga. One is able to see God through this telescope of yoga. And when he said like that, Sri Ramakrishna, that is very good. These are the words of the Gita. Bhagavad Gita is highly considered by the Hindus. They consider the three spiritual book, religious book, the scripture, very highly. That is, they call it the Prasthana Traya. Prasthana means retiring. Prasthana means going out. And what is that? Traya, the three. Traya means three. Prasthana, exit. Exit from this worldly life. The three, scripture will help you. One, first is the Veda, that is Upanishad. And second, Brahma Sutra. There are so many Upanishads are there. So the Vyasdev, who actually classified those Upanishads, he mentioned in a sutra form, in an aphorism, one line, the bullet points, what are there in the Upanishads. That is called Brahma Sutra. And third is the Bhagavad Gita. In that dialogue between the Bhagavan Sri Krishna and his disciple Arjuna, in a very simple way, he has given all that knowledge. So this is called Prasthana Traya. The three great books of the Hindus, the Upanishads, Brahma Sutra, Bhagavad Gita. It's very difficult to understand Upanishads because that never gives any explanation. It tells the truth. And Brahma Sutra also, the same Upanishad, in a very subtle way, small one line, and they will be explaining. So the Shankara and other philosophers, they have given the narration, explanation on those aphorisms. But Bhagavad Gita is very simple. That's why Bhagavad Gita, each and every one they will be reading. And I have seen over here in America, the many ladies, they are doctors, they are professionals, but they will be making a club like that, an association, and they will meet one place and chant the maybe 100 slokas or maybe the whole Gita, 700 slokas in one day, Gita Parayana. And it's very popular in all over India, Gita Parayana. They'll be reading from 1 to 700, so continuously. By that way, they memorize the whole 700 verses, 700 slokas. And they know many things of the Hindu philosophy because of the Bhagavad Gita. So Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning, this is very good. This is in the Bhagavad Gita. What is very good? The telescope. What is that telescope? Yoga. How many yogas are there? Jnana, then the Bhakti, and it says the Jnana, Bhakti and Karma. Here, the book that we are reading now, that is mainly giving thrust on the Karma. What is that Jnana? In Hinduism, they always give freedom to choose your path. Sometimes some people are there who are truly having the analytical mind. And a majority of the people not understanding what is jnana, just go for that and then they ruin their spiritual life. That they should not do. And Sri Ramakrishna said those who are in the household, those who are householders, they have the responsibility of the family, they must have to earn money, should not go to practice the Jnana Marga. Why? The Jnana Margis, they constantly they go on pondering, thinking that I am not the body, I am the soul. So they never hanker for anything. That they are the completely different ways, their practice is completely different. First they decide, now I am going to practice this. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 steps are also there in the Jnana Yoga. Bhakti also there are 7 steps are there. I mean the bhakti is good. Why? Because the emotion that we are already having, only channelizing those emotions towards God. This is easy for all people. That if you are trying the path of the jnana, you have to leave the hearth and home, you have to leave everything. 24 hours you have to go on pondering that I am the Brahman, your relations with others and all that. At the time of practicing, nothing should be there. Otherwise, hypocrisy may come. That is the reason Sri Ramakrishna said it is not for all. In the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna said the path of jnana is very hard. But path of bhakti is for each and every one. The bhakti path one should follow. Along with the bhakti, if you combine the karma, that is the best path suggested by Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna for this present age. Because this is the path Narada, who was a jnani, who realized the Brahman. At the same time, he was a great devotee. He was the best person to say. So he said, Naradya Bhakti, he gave a definition. And this Naradya Bhakti means constantly thinking of God. Tadarpita akhila acharata. You are performing your duties. The householders, you have to perform your duty, you have the responsibility. Your sadharma, your own responsibility, religion is your duties. You must perform that. You should offer it at the feet of the God. So you have the faith, you have the belief, you know this world is temporary. Even then you are working over there with a detached mind. I know this is temporary, but at this moment it is necessary, so I am doing it. So this is the way when one thinking, and every day when you are going to bed in the night, before that he is giving everything to the God. Tad arpita akhila acharata. And the second line, tad vishmarane paramo bhakulata iti. We are studying the Narada Bhakti Sutra every first Saturday of every month, and I give the class of the Hindu temple Lemont. Still now the online classes are going on. All these are there in the YouTube. We are discussing very deeply, thoroughly, how the Narada is explaining this. Arpita akhila acharata tad vishmarane paramo bhakulata. And when I forget the God, now I have gone to a party and I have forgotten God. No. Go over there, mix with your friends, and then say hello to everyone. But within your mind, you should go on remembering the God. Paramo bhakulata. When you are remembering God, that will restrain you, control you to do anything wrong. Any wrong thing will be controlled by the thought of God. Oh, God is present within my heart. He is observing, He is seeing everything. So I should not do this, I should not do that. I am controlled by that way. When I am controlled, slowly, detachment comes from the worldly objects. And when I am detached from the worldly objects, not getting any attractions, as we were just discussing, the moment the mind becomes pure, I get the joy of God. A self-confidence, the God is there. Someday I will surely talk to God, see God face to face. So that is the Bhakti Marg. The Bhakti, the devotion combined with knowledge and work. That is the best for the modern life. The only jnana, in particularly when people are so busy with the worldly things, their livelihood is very difficult. The Sri Ramakrishna is very happy that the author has mentioned this. But what is the telescope of yoga? Why the telescope? The one-pointed. Yoga means union with God. So if you like to be united with God, you have to be focused on that, completely concentrated. You should not deviate from these or that. Completely concentrated on the God. That is called yoga. So as if it is the telescope, you are completely concentrated to find out what is this, keeping any object that you like to study below that apparatus, below that machine. And you see that, look at that, try to understand it, as the scientists they do in the laboratories, and writing down this moment it changed the color, that moment it is behaving like this. It is completely focused. The same way one should constantly focus one's mind to God. The jnana margi, completely focused. And he will go on constantly thinking. Apparently, is very difficult to understand, because they are not the karma yogis that working. They are not the bhakti yogis that praying, performing worship and crying for God, nothing. And they are not also the dhyana yogis, sitting, meditating and withdrawing the mind, no. Just like any ordinary person, they are behaving and sitting quietly in one corner of the room. Oh, that man is just wasting his time. He doesn't talk much. He is not having the frame. If that way we judge him, it will be a mistake, great mistake. The jnana yogis constantly, and that is why the jnana yogis are very rare. Then that is the jnana yoga. They are constantly focused. I am not the body, I am not the mind. That's why when the jnana yogis mostly go on repeating that I am not the body, I am not this mind, I am not the I, constantly reminding themselves. All these things, the body that I am having, and the air, the ether, the earth, aham nirvikalpo, nirakara rupa. Ultimately it comes and says, aham nirvikalpo, I don't have any object. Nirakara rupa, what is my form? Nirakara, without any form is my form. So that is the way. It is very difficult to conceive and to concentrate. Few people can do it. And then comes the focus of Bhakti Yoga. Yatra yatra netra pade, tatra tatra Krishna spure. They are focused on that. They don't see anything else. Only God. God everywhere. Everywhere that is God. So this is the way. Then if you read the biography of one of the Swamis, direct disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, he was walking in the street. Suddenly he found that a boy is trying to get the attention of a girl, and he is singing that for a long time I didn't see you, for a long time I didn't meet with you, could talk to you. Like that he was singing. And Swami started crying. What happened to you? He remembered God. I didn't talk to God for a long time. I didn't see you, O my master, for a long time. He was remembering Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna with those words. A devotee always, anything immediately ignite that the God is not. I forgot the God. How it is possible? Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna himself going and seeing a tiger or a lion, immediately is not looking at the lion. Just by looking once glance at the lion, remembering God is Durga. Constantly thinking of God. looking at the boy who was standing in the form of as we see the images of Krishna, immediately, not the boy, but the Krishna revealed within his heart. That is constantly focused, and that's why the telescope, the author used the word telescope, because he was that way modern, so he was using this. Sri Ramakrishna appreciated this. To realize God, first and foremost, we have to have the faith. God is there. How it is possible? Then you have to go to the scripture. You have to go to the pure soul, pure mind, the sannyasins, that they call it satsanga. In Hindi it is called, in Sanskrit also sat. Sat sangha. Sangha means company. What is the sat? Sat means eternal. Those who have already realized that God is eternal, Atman is eternal, that is called Sat. And if you go to these people, they will guide you properly, because they don't have any selfish motive, and they are not having only a narrow, oh, I realized in this way, or I feel the God can be realized through this way, so don't go to others, rather criticize others, and you should always think as I am thinking. These people are also very dangerous. The narrow-minded, sectarian-minded people. No. The real gurus are very broad-minded, and they will guide you. You love Jnana Marga? Of course you should. But very careful. Be very careful that you are not deceiving yourself. You are not deceiving yourself. And then ultimately, if you are deceiving, you will be a hypocrite, and life will be miserable. And not only that, in the name of God, in the name of spirituality, in the name of religion, you will bring down this high, the spiritual values very low, just because of you. So be very, very careful. They don't say. Bhakti Yoga, whenever I take the name of God, I cry, is an emotion. Maybe you were crying for some other reason. So be careful. Just flowing the tears doesn't mean that you are a great devotee. Are you truly crying for God? Or because of your emotion, you are crying? Some people are very much emotional. Anything little immediately will bring. So are you like that? Be careful about that. So you have to analyze. The bhakti doesn't mean the outburst of the emotion. Bhakti also means, am I truly stepping towards the right directions? How I will know? Love will increase within me. Unselfishness will increase within me. I will not ever feel jealous. And that is why through the stories they always teach us the relation between Radha and Krishna. Completely, through that story we always think, oh, this is the lover and the beloved. Not like that. And you have to understand, in the beginning, Radha was feeling jealous that Krishna is with many, and Krishna was not with her. Why? The moment your mind is narrow, sectarian, and you are thinking God only belongs to you, God leaves you. So that is the way one should learn from this. The Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, they very much, the way they express this love of Radha is a very pure love. What is this love? Only love for God for love's sake, that's all. I don't want anything else in return. So when the Radha realized that, what she saw? She saw God everywhere. On the sky, when she is looking at the sky, that color of the cloud reminds her about the Krishna. Oh clouds, you must have seen my love, my beloved, the Krishna. So you have got this color. And the flowers, the butterflies, the birds, and the grasses, Each and everything was revealing only Krishna. That is the same way. So, telescope. So, one point. So, if we understand this way, then the barrier of this is my God and my religion, and that is their religion, it breaks. God is everywhere, in every form, with everyone. I am blessed that I can think about God. That's all. I am blessed. So, this is the way, and the karma. When we are going to help others, and at the back of it, if I am thinking that they should remember me, that I am helping them, I am giving my picture, see, I gave you this gift, and with my picture and my name, you should remember it, hang it somewhere in your, inside the room. That is not karma. That is maybe a karma, but karma yoga is completely different. The yoga, the union with God, and what first step that teaches? Humbleness. Not me, but thou. So that humbleness. I am blessed that you have accepted my gift. Hey, poor man, come, I am giving you $10. By that way, if I give, I can give. The person will also get. Maybe he will go to the McDonald's and have a cup of coffee with your $10. But you are not going to get the blessings of God by that way. Why? Because of the ego. Hey man, take this dollar and thanks me. No, that should not be. And you should be humble. That's why Bhagavan Swami Vivekananda said, the giver should kneel down. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna also said, if you see God in every being and serve them in that way, this is the what he was mentioning. The master, that is very good. These are the words of the Gita. At last the Devi Choudharani met her husband. She showed him great devotion and said to him, you are my God. I wanted to learn the worship of another God, but I did not succeed. You have taken the place of all gods. The master, Sri Ramakrishna, smiling. I did not succeed. This is the drama of a woman totally devoted to her husband. This also is a path. This also is a path. Why? Because a woman dedicated to the husband and husband dedicated to the wife, if they are faithful to each other, that is called the grihastha dharma. Dharma, a righteousness. It's a religion. Just because I give the word that I will protect my wife every time, everywhere, in every condition, that's the husband is doing his dharma, observing his dharma, his responsibility. That will make his mind pure, just by that. The wife is also giving the words to the husband that I will follow you as a shadow, and that mentality will also purify her mind. So this is the unique way the teachings are coming down. What is the goal? To purify our mind. How to do it? There are so many varieties, and the best is Swadharma. That's why in the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna is mentioning Swadharme nidhanam sreya paradharma bhayabha. As a long back in Andaman, in my office, one lady used to come. I have forgotten. Maybe she was from the France or some European country, and she was visiting Andaman. She used to come and sit in my office. Most of the time, we used to speak in Hindi and other Bengalis, Indian languages, but still she used to be there to listen. And sometimes, just because she was there, I used to speak in English. The one day, I received a wedding card. Some devotee's daughter because of her marriage they have invited me. That is the custom to get the blessing. So they have sent, and it was a very costly. And you know, in Indian marriages, there will be, and nowadays it has developed so much, a beautiful card. That lady was interested. Can I see what is that? Because a butterfly was sitting. The moment you are opening the butterfly, as if is flying from there. So that is costly. So I gave it to her. She went, oh my God, they are going to marry each other. Oh, that's good. Then she was interested to know in this our society how they arrange marriage. Then there was a gentleman was there, elderly person, and his wife. They were also visiting me. Then they told that there will be the boy's father will contact, or the parents will contact the girls, and the girls' parents will they will talk. Then they'll meet each other. They'll be visiting each other's house, and by that way, one day they will decide. The guardians they will decide. Now let them get married. That is and then this type of date function will be arranged, and people will be invited. But the lady told, oh my God, are they not going to spend with each other to understand how they are? Before marriage, at least 5-6 months they should be together to understand whether they will be able to continue their life with each other. Then the gentleman told, no, not like that. Nowadays a few they are doing, but majority the marriages over here is arranged marriage. And she told, oh, I cannot think of it. How it is possible, an unknown person marrying unknown girl, how they will continue? Then the gentleman said, ma'am, I was in Bombay and I received a postcard. In the olden time, postcard was there. I don't know whether it's still there or not. And my father wrote in Bengali that your marriage has been fixed on such and such date. Come at least for 10 days. Come 5 days before and leave 5 days after. So 10-15 days, take leave from your office, from your job, and come and get married. I was very much afraid to talk to father. In those days that was the custom. So he wrote to his mother, at least send me a photo of that girl whom I am going to marry. What is it? I am going to marry, but I don't know the girl. To the father, and another postcard came. I disown you as my son, as because you are not believing in my words. So you do whatever you like and marry whomever you like. Then ultimately I had to go, I had to obey my father, and this is the lady I married, and that is last 40 years, we are, I think 30-35 years I am continuing. And that lady was really surprised. But that is the way. That goes together, understanding each other, understanding the likings and dislikings and respecting those. And that is called Grihastha Dharma. Sri Ramakrishna appreciating that. This is also a path to realize God. And this is the wonderful path. And from that samsara, slowly, the society, human society is growing up. So one must be very, very careful. It has become almost like the funny game. Oh, I like that boy, I married, and then after a few days, I am not liking, you go away, another. That is that way. Of course, it is very, very shallow. The only few people are doing like that as because they are popular people, it is coming in the newspaper and all. It is not happening in the whole society, but one should be careful. Because the marriage is a very great responsibility. I mean, in the Rig Veda also it is mentioned. So here Sri Ramakrishna is very happy that that particular lady who was driven out from her in-laws' house because of some misunderstanding, now her husband understood it, he came, he accepted her, and now she is telling, I was trying to get another God, but you were there, always God. Sri Ramakrishna smiled and accepted this is also a path. And this way is going. Oh, what a stage I passed through. I passed some days absorbed in Shiva and Durga, some days absorbed in Radha and Krishna, and some days absorbed in Sita and Rama. Assuming Radha's attitude, I would cry for Krishna. Assuming Sita's attitude, I would cry for Rama. Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning because he but this is the uniqueness of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. The majority of the avatars as a male body, they perform in that way. But it is not the body, it is the soul. So how within that body one feels? This is the uniqueness Sri Ramakrishna felt. He felt the pangs of the Sita. He felt in that way. The great urge of the Radha for Lord Krishna. It's not that lady body, woman body, but the mind of that lady. She is forgetting everything and concentrating on only Krishna, 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 Krishna. My God, my God, my God. So that's Sri Ramakrishna appreciating. And he is telling, I used to practice that. And the Shiva and Shakti and Radha, Krishna, Rama, Sita. But Leela is by no means the last words. Passing through all these states, I said to the Divine Mother, Mother, in these states there is separation. Give me a state where there is no separation. This is the unique and wonderful way it is mentioning. Sri Ramakrishna is telling that if you are having the duality, obviously there will be separation. So one should go beyond that. And Radha and Krishna, when they are becoming one, there's a beautiful song, and he is mentioning when the Radha and Krishna are becoming one, there is only the God that remains. It is not the male form, it is the female form, it is only the consciousness. That is the self, the pure self. At that unity, Sri Ramakrishna, after practicing all this, not over here, that he is practicing all this. No one else did it before. No avatar did. That's why Swami Vivekananda said, Avatara Barishtaya, not out of emotion, because of all this. Thank you, friends. The Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is asking us, urging us to reach to that situation where one always feels that it is that God. It is not separate, it is not two. Aham Brahmasmi. I am that consciousness. And sometimes he feels, I am that God. The God that I was worshipping, and slowly I have completely transformed into that God. It is not that form, but the consciousness. We will read from there in our next class. Let us see if there is any question.
The first question is from Jayanti Ghosh. She is asking, I don't have any specific mantra diksha, so I chant a mantra like myself, but my mantra is not always chanted as a result of reading Bhakti Shastra. So what is the point of reading Bhakti Shastra?
It's not very clear, I'm sorry to say, the question. Bhakti Shastra gives you or teaches you the devotion to God. But if you have the love for that particular God, it's any form of God. God is one. But any form of God, and you are taking that name of that God with great love, and at the same time thinking all the qualities of that God, then it is all right. But it is suggested that you should go to a guru, receive a mantra, so that your mind becomes one. And usually our tradition that one should listen to the words of the Guru. So the great respect is given to the Guru. By that way we learn. The Bhakti Shastras are teaching us how to develop devotion, love for God. Now your first part of the question, and which God you love, that is your choice. All are different forms and names. But if you love Ganesha, Durga, or the Kali, or Krishna, or Rama, just go on praying. Oh God, please be with me, please be with me. That will help you. And you will find a solace, a peace. Thank you.
Same question, same part 2 question. Jayanti Ghosh, she is asking again. I read devotional scriptures all the time, and that's why my parents think that if the monatism in me goes away, I will become a monk. How can I overcome this fear of them? How can I understand that my spirituality is improving?
Oh, that is the fear. Always the parents, they love us so much. So obviously they always feel that we should be always with them. Though, suppose a son gets a job in the foreign country, goes away, stay over there, maybe once in a while coming back and meeting, the mother or father is happy that he is there. The same son, if he goes to Belur Math to become a monk, lives nearby. Maybe the parents are in Calcutta and the son is living in Belur Math, only the other bank of the Ganga, but still they think, oh, he has gone away. As because they don't have the idea about the monastic life. That is the reason. So you tell them that, no, I am not going to become a monk or a nun or anything, but I like to develop my life in a very disciplined and moral way. Then they will understand and appreciate.
The next question from Sanita Banerjee, she is asking, Maharaj, how can we keep our mind calm during adverse situations in life?
Oh, this is a very good question, but you know that the only way is to pray. When the adverse situations are coming, then you have to go on praying to God. God, I know you are the only being, and because of you only things are happening. And when these adverse situations are coming, it is a challenge coming before me, you are doing it. But why? What wrong have I done? And suppose I have done, please forgive me. By that way, if you pray, then you will become very calm. The anger with other people, thinking they are creating the problem, that will go away. And slowly, slowly, problems will also be solved. So that is the only way.
The next question from Kamal Chaudhary, he is asking, how can consciousness exist without mind?
Consciousness exists without mind. What is mind? If the consciousness is not there, that consciousness is there everywhere, always. And the mind is nothing but an agitation on that consciousness. So Kamal Babu, if you know about this, the consciousness was there, is there, will be there, and that is why in the Upanishad, the rishis, after realization of this consciousness, they say Sat. Sat means eternal, unchanging, all the time. And anything and everything is changing. So the mind is also changing. Mind is also, you see, when you were a child, how you used to think. When you were a young man, how you used to think. I don't know your age. If you are of my age, we are thinking in a different way. The same mind changing. That means one day, mind may go away. But the consciousness which is reflecting on our mind, our buddhi, that will be there. So consciousness is the base. All other things are superimposed on consciousness. That is that. Thank you, friends. So let us say Shanti 3 times. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.